Looking at the Ravens right now, it's hard not to feel a sense of cautious optimism. After starting the season 1-5, getting back to a 500 record might feel like a small victory. But in reality, it's just the beginning. You can't get comfortable, because in the AFC, nothing comes easy. Teams like the Colts, the Broncos, even the Jaguars, and in the West, the Chargers, all have stakes in the playoff picture. You look over at the AFC North, and Pittsburgh is keeping pace, meaning every game still carries weight. Hitting 500 doesn't mean the job is done, it simply means the conversation starts there. The real challenge comes in the next stretch of games. Those 6 or 7 weeks that are going to separate the contenders from the pretenders. You can't sit back after a mid-season bump. The real grind is just around the corner. Take the Patriots, for example, leading the AFC East and riding an 8-game winning streak. They've reminded everyone that this conference is as competitive as it has been in years. Even the teams you might not have expected are stepping up, showing that the old hierarchies are being challenged. This is a wide-open AFC. And the Ravens can't afford to underestimate anyone. They've got new blood and reinvigorated teams, pushing for recognition in many ways. It feels like the early 2000s are back, the era of Tom Brady's Patriots and Peyton Manning's Colts, now mirrored by new iterations of these franchises. Even the Broncos, once led by Manning, have resurfaced as a force. Kansas City is suddenly on the outside looking in. Buffalo is not, dominating the AFC East as expected. And it's clear, the conference is unpredictable, dynamic, and unforgiving. For the Ravens, the key is execution, especially on defense. The transformation over the last month has been remarkable. Early in the season, the defense looked lost, bottom 5 in scoring defense, struggling in both pass and rush defense, often appearing flat-footed and reactionary. But since that pivotal game against the Rams and following the bye week, there has been a noticeable shift. The mindset has changed, aggression is back. Blitzing has become a tool again, not a liability. Players like Draymond Jones have embraced the philosophy of being the aggressor, of dictating the pace instead of reacting to it. The mentality is no longer about surviving. It's about controlling the game and forcing opponents to respond to their pressure. After the game against Cleveland, Jones explained that momentum wasn't something that came from external factors, like a stadium going wild, or the absence of opposing quarterbacks. It was already present. Leadership from players like Roquan Smith set the tone, reinforcing that nothing had changed. Discipline, focus, and intensity are still the foundation. The defense has internalized this approach, and it shows on the field. They are winning individual matchups, creating turnovers, and asserting dominance in ways they couldn't early in the season. Kyle Hamilton has been exceptional, but the rapid integration and impact of Draymond Jones over just 2 games has been impressive. It's a sign that this defensive philosophy is resonating across the roster, building confidence and consistency week to week. Football momentum is a fragile, fleeting thing. One play, one score, can flip a game entirely. The Ravens' defensive improvements highlight how important perspective and leadership are. Even when setbacks occur, such as injuries or tough losses, maintaining focus and discipline is what keeps them competitive. The team has endured challenges. The Bills' game early in the season exposed weaknesses and injuries to key players like Hamilton disrupted continuity, but the return to form post-bye week has been tangible. The defense is now dictating the flow of games, not merely responding. Their ability to force turnovers, succeed on third downs, and limit red zone efficiency has dramatically improved. These gains are not just statistical. They're reflective of a deeper cultural shift within the squad. The offensive side has its discussion points, but it's the defense that has become the foundation. Every win in recent weeks has reinforced this mindset. Rookie quarterbacks and inexperienced defenses have faced the Ravens and struggled to make an impact, which speaks volumes about preparation, discipline, and execution. Even against more seasoned threats, the Ravens are making adjustments and asserting control. Games against teams like the Bears and matchups featuring quarterbacks such as Caleb Williams demonstrate that this defense is not just performing, they are imposing themselves. The confidence gained from these victories fuels the team's identity and momentum moving forward. Yet, the Ravens cannot afford to get comfortable. Division rivals like Pittsburgh and Cincinnati remain formidable, and even teams outside the division, such as the Patriots and Colts, can derail momentum in an instant. The AFC is tightly contested, and while Baltimore has shown improvement, the road ahead is filled with challenges. Success now requires consistency, focus, and the same aggressive mindset that has catalyzed the recent turnaround. Every opponent, every play, demands attention and precision. Complacency is the enemy, and the Ravens have shown a clear understanding of that. Looking ahead, the schedule presents a mix of opportunities and threats. A 3-game home stretch against teams like the Jets and Bengals gives Baltimore a chance to build momentum, but also underscores the importance of focus and preparation. Pittsburgh's schedule poses challenges as well, with tough matchups against the Bears, Bills, and eventually the Ravens themselves. The history of the AFC North tells us that no team can be taken for granted. Wins must be earned on the field, and Baltimore understands that principle better than anyone. The ongoing transformation in Baltimore is as much about mindset as it is about execution. Leadership, discipline, and adaptability are driving the team forward. The defense's resurgence, combined with strategic offensive improvements, sets the stage for what could be a decisive stretch of games. Every matchup, every series, is an opportunity to assert control and build toward playoff contention. The Ravens are no longer playing catch-up, they are actively shaping their path and forcing opponents to respond to their intensity. In this context, every player's contribution matters. From star performers like Kyle Hamilton to emerging leaders such as Draymond Jones, the collective effort is evident. Success is built on preparation, resilience, and the ability to execute under pressure. Baltimore's recent performances are proof that the lessons of early season struggles have been internalized. The team is now playing with purpose, aggression, and clarity, setting a standard for the remainder of the season. Even when facing high-pressure scenarios against talented quarterbacks or dynamic offenses, the Ravens have displayed the poise and readiness that are required to contend at the highest level. The integration of returning players and the maturation of younger contributors have created a balanced, disciplined, and confident unit week by week. The defensive improvements are reflected not just in metrics, but in the team's ability to control the narrative of each game. Baltimore's approach embodies the principle that consistent effort, mental focus, and calculated aggression are the keys to success in a hyper-competitive AFC. Looking ahead, the Ravens' path through the remainder of the season is anything but simple. The schedule is stacked with both opportunities and hurdles, and every single game carries a weight that could define the playoff picture. The 3-game homestand against the Jets, Bengals, and then Pittsburgh is critical not just for the record, but for momentum and confidence. These matchups will test the Ravens' ability to maintain focus and consistency while handling the pressures of a tightly contested division. One misstep could ripple through the standings, and the AFC is far too competitive for any team to coast. Baltimore knows that each opponent, from rookie quarterbacks to established stars, demands their absolute best every snap, every play. Without exception, Pittsburgh, in particular, remains a threat despite the Ravens' recent run of form. The Steelers have a tendency to start strong and then falter late in the season, which has been a recurring theme over the years. Their schedule is a grind, with tough matchups against top-tier teams like the Bears and the Bills, and the Ravens themselves. Even with Aaron Rodgers potentially sidelined and Mason Rudolph stepping in, the Steelers have depth and experience that cannot be underestimated. Historical rivalry aside, these games will be tests of preparation, execution, and mental toughness. Baltimore can't assume a win, it has to be earned. Play by play, quarter by quarter, against a team that knows them inside and out. Cincinnati is another critical matchup, especially given the presence of game-changing talent like Jamar Chase. The Bengals have proven time and again that they can challenge the Ravens at key moments, and the dynamic of facing a player capable of turning a single play into a game-altering event means Baltimore's secondary has to be at its absolute peak. Every corner, every safety, every linebacker must be sharp, disciplined, and ready to react. The Ravens have shown improvement in this area since the early struggles, but consistency is key. Turnovers, red zone stops, and successful third-down defenses will determine not just the outcome of individual games, but potentially the positioning in the playoff race. The narrative around Baltimore has shifted from recovery to assertion. Early season struggles exposed weaknesses and created doubt, but the transformation post-bye week has been remarkable. The defense, which once seemed reactionary, now takes control of games. Aggression, blitzing, and disciplined execution have become defining features of their play. Leadership from players like Roquan Smith, Draymond Jones, and Kyle Hamilton has been instrumental in creating this culture of accountability and intensity. Confidence breeds performance, and the Ravens have clearly embraced this mentality. making them a formidable force moving forward. Offensively, there is still work to be done. Red zone execution and offensive line cohesion remain areas to monitor. While the defense has become the backbone of the team, the offense must continue to develop consistency to complement the improvements on the other side of the ball. Balancing aggressive defensive play with an efficient, controlled offensive approach is essential. Each game requires focus and preparation, as a single turnover or breakdown in communication can shift momentum dramatically in the AFC. Injuries, as always, play a role in the outcome of the season. The return of key players has helped stabilize the roster, but depth and adaptability remain critical. The Ravens have managed to integrate returning talent effectively, which has strengthened both execution and morale. Players who struggled earlier in the season have stepped up, veterans have reinforced standards, and emerging leaders are setting the tone. The combination of skill, preparation, and mental fortitude is creating a team capable of not just competing, but dominating critical stretches of the season. The Ravens' identity is now defined by resilience and aggression. They are no longer merely reacting to opponents, they are shaping the game. Every sack, every interception, every red zone stop reinforces the team's confidence and sends a clear message to the rest of the league. Baltimore is back in contention, and they are not to be taken lightly. The culture shift is palpable, on and off the field, and the momentum built from recent victories provides a strong foundation for the challenges ahead. However, the journey is far from complete. Every game in the coming weeks tests discipline, focus, and execution. The Patriots, Bengals, and Steelers are all playoff caliber teams, each capable of exposing mistakes and forcing the Ravens to adapt. Success will require the continued application of lessons learned, maintaining intensity, and not allowing complacency to creep in. The margin for error in the AFC is slim, and Baltimore's recent improvements must be sustained under pressure. The mental aspect of football cannot be overstated. Momentum swings, pressure situations, and the expectations of fans all play into performance. The Ravens have demonstrated the ability to reset, refocus, and execute under these conditions. But the true test comes in sustaining this level over multiple weeks. Consistency and preparation, execution, and discipline will ultimately determine whether they can translate recent progress into a successful playoff campaign. Every player's role matters. Leaders set the tone, but contributions from every position are crucial. Young players are gaining experience and confidence, while veterans provide guidance and stability. The integration of returning talent with emerging stars has created a balanced roster capable of handling the rigors of a competitive schedule. The Ravens' ability to execute under pressure, adjust to challenges, and maintain their aggressive identity will define their success. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support keeps us bringing you the latest news on the Baltimore Ravens. And hey, drop your take in the comments below. We want to hear from the flock. The rumor mill is swirling around Baltimore, and the latest whispers suggest that the Ravens might be on the verge of making some bold moves. Sources close to the team hint that 3 targets have suddenly heated up simultaneously, leaving fans buzzing with speculation, while details remain scarce. Insiders suggest that front office discussions have intensified, and the team's scouting reports have been circling these potential acquisitions for weeks. What makes this story particularly intriguing is the timing. After a period of relative quiet, the sudden focus on multiple targets raises questions about the Ravens' strategy for the upcoming season. Are these early maneuvers signals of a major shakeup in the roster, or just precautionary looks at talent in case other teams make a move first? The notion of 3 names gaining simultaneous traction is enough to set social media alight, with fan forums speculating about everything from offensive reinforcements to defensive upgrades. Those familiar with the inner workings of the team suggest that each target addresses a specific need. Those sources won't confirm whether the focus is on veterans ready to make an immediate impact, or younger players the team hopes to develop. The excitement is palpable in Baltimore, with observers noting that even a whisper of these potential acquisitions has created a sense of urgency around the locker room and among the coaching staff. What's fueling the frenzy is not just a trio of targets, but also the way the news has emerged. Typically, the Ravens are known for their calculated, methodical approach to roster changes. The sudden simultaneous interest in multiple players hints at either an opportunistic strike or a calculated gambit that could reshape the team's trajectory. Analysts are already weighing the possibilities. theorizing how such moves might fit into the team's long-term plan. Though the uncertainty only adds fuel to the fire, one thing is clear: Baltimore fans are now on high alert. Whether these whispers turn into actual signings, trades, or draft day surprises, the next few weeks could be defining for the Ravens season. The combination of secrecy, multiple targets, and a sense of urgency has created the perfect storm for speculation, and in a league where timing is everything, the Ravens' latest buzz may signal more than just routine roster adjustments. It could be the beginning of a chain reaction that changes the narrative around the team entirely. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay in the loop with exclusive news on our Baltimore Ravens, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what the flock thinks. Drop your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next one.